Here we're standing by the Walker Covered Bridge. We're glad to have Glenn Walker, a structural engineer, who helped design this bridge and promised me when we built it I could bring my dump truck across it. He says it's about, I think, Glenn, what, 18,000 pounds is the maximum weight load on it. And we were able to cut the trees from local trees and hired a crane, the 20-ton crane, to bring the side pieces, set the side pieces for me. They wouldn't lift it over this tree here and get it high enough to go to the other side. He had to go back and bring a 50-ton crane. Well, Glenn's been a friend of mine for almost 50 years. We travel a lot together, we antique a lot together. He's been a great asset to Hart Square, designing and working through the cotton press, the cotton gin, anything major mechanical. Glenn's volunteered to help us do it. Glenn, you can tell us a little bit about this bridge.
I didn't do that much manual labor out here. Most of mine was brain work because I had other work, and Bob had plenty of help. He had some good guys out here that really did a good job on most everything he's built here. Like he said, we came to Hickory the same Sunday, and we've traveled all over eastern United States and bought a lot of these antiques out here, probably most of them. And we still enjoy coming out every year and coming to the festival. And this bridge is, like Bob said, it's rated about 18,000 pounds, and it's not a copy of any type of truss. It is a truss that is made by the normal truss design, and it's similar to the truss bridges around here, but we designed it from scratch. In other words, Bob told me what size lumber he could get. I told him how much he had to have, and then what placement he had to have. And right over there in that flat spot, we laid out an area, and we built the two trusses and brought them over here with that 50-ton crane Bob was talking about and set them in place. And then we put the rest of the structure around the truss and the floor and so forth to where it would all act together to support the required load. As you can see here, these foundations Bob built out on the lake, and there's one similar on the other side. And we span from here to that, from there about 60 feet.
Between 60 and 70 feet. Yeah. And of interest, the Rhodes cabin right in front of us here, some leftover lumber. Tommy Tucker, who helped build the cotton press, helped us do this one. And we carved the pegs. Now this thing is pegged to represent what you would have found back in the 1800s. But Tommy Tucker had a big hand in putting it together. And of course we did all the roof, the shingles, and the flooring, which a lot of stuff that I've done previously. So,
of course, like any project, we scratched our heads a little while before we finally settled on this site. One time we were kind of sweet on putting it up the head of the lake, but after consideration we decided that this would show up better and it would give access to the church rather than having to walk all the way around through the woods, and it would serve a purpose for emergency road going out to back through the woods. For instance, one time we had some logs we didn't like, and so they decided that they'd take those logs back and get some more at the sawmill right before the festival started. So they came over here, and this road was blocked by the engineers. I mean the Civil War people. So they just went right across the bridge, and that big load of logs, and headed up through the woods and back over to the sawmill. In 15 minutes they were back. And that's another good example that Bob has a lot of people out here at Hepson.
In fact, if it
all
wasn't
the time, and then during festival.
Yeah, if it wasn't for volunteers, Hart Square wouldn't exist. Yeah, but this to me is typical of of a covered bridge that's put together in the original way that it would have been done in 1800s.
Yep.
Well, one interesting aspect of the bridge, I think, is the window that he designed. If you notice, the latch is all pegged for opening it, and it's a beautiful shot and a view from this side of the lake to the entire village, basically on the other side.
And you'll notice that like all covered bridges, you have a running board. In other words, it's a board that runs straight with the track. And that's the main purpose of that is to keep your boards from flapping on the bottom or wearing the nails loose. And so this spreads the load out as you go across the bridge. And then you'll notice another feature, we have a brace ever so often for wind load. They always put bracing down both sides for the wind load, because you didn't have any, back in those days, you didn't have any box trucks. They were all rounded wagons, and they would fit right in that. And then too, we've got cedar shakes. Most all your covered bridges are built with cedar shakes, as a lot of buildings back in those days. And then we have wood siding, and it's like I said before, it spans from here to there, and the trusses carry the load down the side all the way back and forth. And then we have members in between that carry the load from the tracks over to the side. We don't have any beams spanning underneath this. It's all carried by these two trusses here.